abajo se defiende a todo mundo. Radio Jornalera, donde tu voz encuentra un eco amplificado, donde tus derechos salen a la luz y disipan el miedo, donde tus aportes a la sociedad se evidencian, donde se reconoce que tus luchas reivindican derechos para todas y todos. Radio Jornalera destaca a la gente humilde que pelea por sus derechos a pesar de sus circunstancias de despojo y marginación. Eleva a los individuos y sus luchas y muestra cómo la clase trabajadora y humilde puede ser agente de cambio cuando se organiza, cuando se defiende y cuando tiene una lectura correcta de su propia realidad. Radio Jornalera provee el espacio para aprender de los invitados e invitadas sobre sus vidas, lo que les motiva a seguir adelante, sus virtudes y desafíos y hasta su música y poesía favorita. Radio Jornalera recalca el trabajo de activistas, organizadores, educadores y algunas celebridades, sus causas, sus campañas, sus estrategias, sus tácticas y los reveses más duros en el perenne quehacer de formar líderes para hacer el mundo más justo, más humano, más inclusivo. Para cambiar el mundo, primero hay que conocer a las personas que sobreviven las injusticias y políticas públicas groseras. Hay que apoyar y solidarizarse con sus luchas, porque desde abajo se defiende a todo mundo. Radio Jornalera, donde los anhelos y el sentir del pueblo trabajador cobran vida.
Hi everybody, bienvenidos and welcome back to New Brunswick Speaks. I'm Yami Games Castillo, Collab Arts Community Organizer, New Brunswick Documenters Program co-manager, and your co-host for the show. I'm here today with
Victoria Masfeller, the co of those things. So I'm the co-manager of Documenters Program. I am the co for this podcast, and I am the producing associate for Collab Arts. We are thankfully joined by John Keller, who is co-ing this program too. He's also the director of education for Collab Arts and the co-producer for Collab Arts. I'm really excited because today we have one of my favorite people in the world, my bestie, Carolina Moratti.
our mother.
Yes, mother of Collab. But John, you've known Caro for such a long time that I need to pick your brain.
Mm-hmm.
All
right, we're talking about Caro.
Yeah, we're talking about Caro. What are some questions that you would have for her about her life, experience, community organizer? Goddess.
Carolina Moratti. Okay, so Carolina Moratti never stops moving, and she never stops plotting. I would kind of probably want to know, when does she sleep? When is she not moving? Let's see, Carolina Moratti. Okay, so Caro's been around New Brunswick for probably about 10 years or so, and she's kind of got her hand in like 12 million things. But whenever there seems to be a problem, she seems to be like showing up to help create a solution for the problem. And she did a lot of work during the pandemic. And she was kind of like, she would keep seeing very hyper-specific needs and kind of jump in and try to figure out a solution to that. So I'm kind of curious now that we're, a couple years out of the pandemic, like what's the specific thing that she's seeing on the ground right now that needs some attention? Because she's that person who's like, all right, this is the thing that needs some focus and some attention, and, either using social media or just like constantly around at 12 million events. She's kind of like that person who like has her what's the metaphor?
The nose to the ground, right?
Yes, nose to the ground, or heartbeat, finger on the pulse.
Oh yeah, that's
okay. There we go. Great. I think I would want to know that, and then we joke about this all the time. Like, what would we do if we had, right? So I'd want to know how, if she had $5 million, what would she? Which I guess is kind of sort of related to the first question too. But if she had $5 million, how would she spend it? What would she spend it on?
Cool. They're great questions.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear the answers.
Okay, great. And then you could ask her, be like,
Yeah.
if $5 million for like community stuff, and then like $5 million on herself.
And that's a really good distinction,
Yes.
actually, for Caro.
Yeah.
Yes, because we need to ask her to spend
Yes.
something on herself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks, John.
All right, that's what I got.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right, everybody. So now we have the wonderful and incredible Carolina Moratti. She is a community organizer, community leader, social media extraordinaire. We like to say that she is the eyes and ears of New Brunswick, and she's also a Collab Arts board member, woohoo, as well as the new CEO for Sister Work. We are so excited to have you, Carol.
Thank you so much. This is very nice. I'm finally so excited to see that you guys are doing this. We talk about
We're so
podcasts
excited.
so many times.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Now it's a reality, and that's what we do, right? We talk and then we
Yes.
make it happen.
Yeah. And we thought of you right away as someone that we wanted to talk to because of your community or organizing work. We're always joking that you're everywhere. I can message you and you're always messaging back. You have so much energy and there's so much that you do for New Brunswick. And so it makes sense as New Brunswick Speaks and we're thinking about who are the people in our community who really affect change. You are. So I want to start at the beginning. So like, where did you come from and like, what's like the origin story?
Good. I came to the United States at the age of 20. And right away, I felt lost. I felt not welcome. The gringos, per se, were not the gringos who used to go to my country and be super nice. So it was a challenge and it was like a shock, right? But I took it in and I started my life. Immediately, I became a mom. And then I became a survivor, and then I became a single mom in less than 2 years. So I have to pick up my life for pieces and pieces, and I have to learn how to manage, right? And out of that need, I noticed that there was a lot of help that you could reach out, but people didn't want to tell you, or people didn't want to share with you any of those things. And when you were trying to set something, they were like, oh, let them, déjalos. They can figure it out themselves. So that used to bother me a lot because I was like, why do we going to do that? If we have the ways to set it, especially because I speak Spanish, why I cannot help my community? So I kind of feel eager to do it. So I gone with my life. I went to culinary school because I have a culinary background from my country, hospitality background. So I went to culinary school and I started raising my kid. I started putting my life together. My son and I, we used to be homeless until he was 18 months. So all of that pain and all of that, somebody could take it and suffer their whole life, right? I took it as an inspiration. I said, I'm going to take this and make a story of it. And that's what I've been doing all these years. And you'll see while I start telling you more about it, how come this part of my life, it takes a lot in what I do now. Yeah. But essentially, I'm like a Peruvian girl who, on the way of her life, became also Mexican and also became a citizen from everywhere else, and who is very happy to help. And yes, I can never stop because I don't know. Even when I'm sleeping, I'm thinking, we have to do this, we have to do that. It's just me, and if I don't do it, I think I just get crazy. So it's just part of my life.
I love that. And so to that point also of, you saying you're a Peruvian girl that became Mexican along the way, that happened, as you kind of made New Brunswick your home. So can you tell us a little bit about that? How did this become your ground?
So I became a chef. Then I started working in different jobs. And then I started doing TV in Potterstown, New Jersey. I started doing a cooking show, Dominican cooking show. It was like a magazine. And the director of the school here, I went to Elias Promise, and she found out I was doing TV, and she's like, how come you're doing TV and you didn't tell us to promote that? That's very good that an alumni is doing that. So she said, I need you here. I need you to do something. And I'm going to need you to teach a class in here called Vamos a Cocinar, or Let's Cook, which was cooking with the families and their kids. So I have to work with the moms and the kids to teach them how to cook. How do you cook? How do you teach a mom how to cook? They already know. So I was feeling a little conflicted, but I did it. And then I fell in love with New Brunswick people because I realized that there was a lot of families. And it was a lot of women like me with a little kid who didn't know what to do or where to go. And that was my moment. I was like, this is the place I love to be able to share the resources. So I started working with all those families. I essentially became their social worker without the title, right? And then I started meeting more and more families. And then one of the moms took me to New Brunswick tomorrow. They were developing like a fair or something for the families to like kind of showcase like a little tianguis or something, but everything was in the air. So they invited me to the first meeting. And at that point, I was serving in Middlesex, where I used to live. I used to serve on the Middlesex Democratic Board. I used to work, serve on the school board, but I always felt that like, even on the library board, I used to serve in there, but I always felt that like I was just the brown person to show diversity, but they never really heard my voice. So I was like, whatever I said, they're like, yeah, you know, but they never really respected me. So when I came here and I sit down on the first board of New Brunswick, also Colabar was part of it, developing what it became Mercado Esperanza later on. I felt that like I had a voice, and then Charles Rapen was there, and he started listening to me, and everybody started sharing the ideas, and everybody started feeling like very comfortable of what I was saying, and I feel like, how come these people is listening to me? And then I met Anthony and John and Dan and everybody, and we were all young and full of dreams, and they were like, Carolina, da, da, da. And then John sent me a message and said that we would like you to start working or collaborating with Collab Arts. So I started working with them, and then we started doing the Mercado, and then I ended up kind of leading up what the Mercado was. At some point, I was checking the kitchen, driving the truck, moving the food, doing the microphone, trying to speak with the people who was trying to come to sell their stuff, but they were not registered. So it was like a system to teach people. And the essence of the Mercado Esperanza for me was to make sure people who cannot go back home be able to teach their kids what a tianguis is. So on their time of Mercado Esperanza, when I was there, I think I did it. Then after that, collab took me kind of more. So we had to do more collab stuff. And then pandemic hit, right? We were doing a lot of things in the pandemic hit, and we even grew up even more. Not because I wanted to, it was because the energy and the people forced me to do that. Because it was a need. And every time there is a need, you have to create a solution. And we cannot sit down and wait for the solution to come or complain. I was having a conversation with my son. He was telling me, oh, I didn't like this, and that from the event we went, because last year wasn't like that. And I said, well, you cannot be complaining. You have to learn how to do action and be part of the change. If you're going to start sitting down complaining, nothing is going to happen. So that's what I've been doing, just taking action. And how do I take action? Normally, everything that I have done is through my social media, because I didn't have the network to call or ask for donations, or the 501c3 that I didn't have. Now we do have it, but we talk about it in a minute. So it was everything by social media. And you will be surprised. The people who help the most is the people who have the less. But it's a circle of blessings that we learn how to do. And that's what I do the most. I have to teach people how to do community, how to take care of each other, like back home, like back in the day when my grandma used to send me to their comadres' houses and be like, go bring this food, and then you bring something back, and we take care of each other. And if you have a surgery or something, they will helping you out. So it's about that. Learn how to do community while we live in a city. But that was like that.
Oh, I learned more about
Right.
you. There's some things I was like, oh, I know that. It's always surprises. Speaking of community, two of the major projects that you've developed that are housed in the same place of collab, and we feel very thankful for that, is Promesa and Sisterworks. Could you talk about how Promesa and Sisterworks came to be? What are their two separate missions, and how do they collide? And then what your role is now?
Yes. Well, for that, we gotta go a little bit back. Okay. So Sisterworks started 7 years ago, and it was a conversation I have with Luisa, Sara, and Sara Ferreira. And they were starting to have a conversation on how to create an organization for domestic violence for teenagers. And I have to have to set my foot down and be like, listen, that sounds lovely. I mean, I'm very known to bring reality to people. I will tell you how it is and I will check you down.
Get real.
And then after that, you'll learn like, oh, okay, she was right. So I did that. And I sit them down and I'll be like, listen, organizations like that, there is a lot. And they doing a respectable work. I'm not gonna start something in Euros Week when it's already organizations. We have the March.
Mm-hmm.
They do an amazing work. We have a lot of advocates for that.
Mm-hmm.
We even have Venus Dwelling right here. It's not need. I mean, it might be a need, but it's not for us.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to them, what we need is to create an organization who can help us to be able to communicate between the moms and the daughters. Why? Because our kids are a lot of Yo no Sabo kids, which is good. I love my Yo no Sabos. We have to respect them.
Shout out to the Unosabos.
They try a lot and I love them because they're there. And they have a lot on their backs. They have to translate, they have to clean, they have to take care to the kids, to their brothers, they have to go to the store. They have to translate the most horrible things sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And we cannot blame them because they don't speak Spanish properly. They know English more than their parents, so we have to celebrate our Yo no Sabos.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, with that said, my Yo no Sabo kids and the moms who are trying to wiggle between their husband being abusive to them, and then the job being abusive to them, and then try to do the part-time, the full-time, the extra time, the overtime, and the cleaning extra help do that they do over the weekend to make it to the end of the month. And then we're gonna push them and being like, you're giving me trauma, you're making me this and making me that. That communication between the kids. If your kid come and tell you, oh, you me dañaste, or tú me diste trauma, and you have all that trauma on your back, how come you won't have a conversation?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I said. We need to address that issue. Yes, we were having so many girls trying to escape the families, getting pregnant, trying to get married because they were like, oh, this is going to fix everything. I don't want to go to college. I just want to marry because that's what they see in the community.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to sit down with all these kids and with all these moms and create a bridge of communication. So we started going to the beach. We started having yoga. We started having decoupage or coloring, things like that with food, meditation, and there's this. Those little things you could do once a month. So we start having those meetings, and then we start creating, and then we start pushing, and then I started have separation. Like the teenagers work with the teenagers, and I started working with the moms, and that was a breakthrough moment because I said, "Tell me, what do you want to see in the next 5 years?" And of course, as a mom, I want my son to finish high school. I want my no. I say, write it down. They break it. I say, now you break it. And they're like, you're asking me my wishes and then you told me to break it. Yes, because those wishes are for your family. I'm asking you, as a Maria, as a Petra, as a Laura, what do you want for yourself? Because as a mom, you don't love yourself enough. You're always thinking. So come to find out, make that story short, that took us to the creation and the putting together of the 501c3 called Sister Work, which is that. It is being able to hang out with your kids and talk and have somebody who's going to hold you and help you. And from that, a lot of things happen with Sister Work that I'll talk to you in a minute. But it was essentially that. Out of that conversation between those 10 moms that they were sitting down in there, probably 8 achieved what they write on their papers. And I still have those papers with me. And I saw one of them that night I remember she went into the floor and cried with me. We were on our knees crying because she said, my husband left me and I have those babies. Tell me what I do. What should I do to fix the pain that I have in here? I'm never gonna feel love in my life. And one day I was doing a wedding because I'm a wedding officiant. And I saw somebody doing this to me. She was carrying a baby and then it was a guy next to her. And I said, after the wedding, I went and I said, it's like, this is my husband and this is my baby.
Aww.
You told me that I was going to love someday and now I'm very happy. I said, you see, the pain goes, but you have to go through that pain together as a family and community.
Mm.
So things like that happen. And when they ask me, why is the reason you keep doing that? For moments like that. Yeah. So that was sister work. And then with my friend Aris, same thing. She called me and she said, I have a lot of dresses and I wanted it to do something related to fashion. I love fashion. I love dressing up. I love to do that. And people would be like, how come? That's very plastic. That's very superficial. How come somebody who like to push community like that, like fashion like that, it doesn't make sense? Why not? You can look very good on the penny.
Absolutely.
You have to learn how to do that. And you have to learn how to present yourself, because if you want God or the universe to put you in places like that, you have to look as such. You have to be like, you know. And it's also a little history back. Why do I love fashion so much? Is because when I escaped domestic violence, I escaped with my clothes and I grabbed all my baby's clothes. But it took me like at least 2 years to have a decent set of clothes. And during my relationship, to prevent me to go out, he will cut my clothes, or he will hide my clothes or hide my glasses. That's why I don't wear glasses. I have LASIK as soon as I was able to do so. And the very last interaction I have with this person, he said, you gotta go pick up your clothes because I'm taking everything and I'm leaving that place I'm staying. So I went and picked it up. And when I took it home, everything was burned and cut in pieces. So there was not even one piece of cloth that you could use. Mm-hmm. But I didn't cry. I normally don't. So I was like, okay, no problem. Mm-hmm. And now I gotta say, low-key embarrassing or like whatever. I do have a walk-in closet and I have two
Not
racks.
Embarrassing at all. No.
I have a humongous walk-in closet, and I have 2 racks next to my bed full of clothes.
Yeah.
And I have bags and all of that. And I'm not embarrassed, but every time my son and my boyfriend come and say like, they're like, it's that kind of joke, right?
Yes.
I always said, I'm fixing myself. They're like, yes, I know. That's why we bought you the racks, because they are the ones who bought me the racks.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I love it and I enjoyed it. And I think through that, you can bring back emotions, you can heal. And I'll share with you something that had happened last week with the dresses. I think it's a way to get closer to people, to get personal. And the clothing gave you the power to make people feel special and amazing and powerful. Even shoulders up, it happens immediately. So that's Promesa Project. We do give away prom dresses to the girls with a pledge of love and respect, because you got to know that prom is a beautiful night. You also have to make sure it's going to be okay, and you have to respect it, because teenagers have a high risk on getting into those bad relationships because what they see at home. And it's not their fault. It's just what we see. And sometimes because we don't have love at home, we go into relationships and put up with stuff just because we're afraid or we don't feel pretty enough. Nobody's going to love me. Nobody's going to value me. Nobody's going to respect me, because that's what we see at home. So many ways to give power, but that's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what an incredible trajectory.
I really appreciate the conversation that you're having around prom dresses, because I was even just watching Euphoria last night, and just all the media we have around ourselves that like reflects back that women are always supposed to be asking other people permission to be in space, and also asking permission to be loved and to want to be loved, and then being vilified for it. And so like, how do you end that cycle, especially when it's glorified on TV and Instagram, etc., not to be so cliche. I would love to know a little bit why you wanted to step into the CEO position of Promesa and Sister Works. Like, what does that mean to you, and what does it mean to you?
Well, I lead different initiatives, right? During the pandemic, we did Birthday in a Box project. We did Cooking Outside the Box. So there is, like I said, always related stuff to community, a problem and a solution, right? So like I say, Sister World started like that. We have dresses, and then we ended up having this project. And when we start Sister Work, my dream was always to have la casita amarilla, the yellow house. Which, in other words, it will be a house or a place where people can get a clothing room, which we achieved this year. We have our first and second clothing rooms of the year. So the main thing for me, what do we want to offer on La Casita Amarilla, which is Sisterhood? A clothing room, a place for the kids to go after school and have people who help them out with the assignments, being able to get a communal dinner, and a place where the parents or the moms can go in and have resources for them. We have something called Cafecito Hour, which they talk to somebody in English and they have a conversation, pure chisme, but in English. So they feel like push to talk a little bit of English. So this is the whole idea or the whole motivation to kind of push that. And my co-founders, I'm the oldest co-founder. I'm the oldest co-founder of Sisterhood. So they needed to step down, and then the board of directors appointed me to be able to do that. And I said, well, it makes just sense to continue this because essentially it was our baby and we have to push it. And we have a lot of support because we work directly with Collab Arts, in collaboration with Collab Arts. And then Promesa is under what it is Sisterwork, and Sisterwork is a 501c3. So we have now more resources and my volunteers. Without them, without each of my volunteers, I would be able to do nothing. So it's just about the community, the women, the ladies showing up and do the work. Because like I said, all the social media people made the donations, and we have like ridiculous amount of donations on location. But if we don't have the people who can help us out, we couldn't do absolutely nothing. So all of this is just Carolina Moratti moving the social media, pushing, being available, saying yes to all the projects, but it's also the community saying yes to me. And the volunteers being in there and people making donations. We didn't get to the point of people writing checks, but eventually.
On the way.
Yes. But I mean, it is that. And back to what you say about being CEO or being on boards. Essentially, I do not I don't have a doctorate or a master, right? But we have to, and I speak as a Latinos and also as a young professionals, as a young people, we have to learn how to put us in positions of power and not to be afraid of being in there. If you think you don't speak English properly and you have an accent, so what? We all have it. The people who is from here and who is culturally respectful and oriented, they'll try to understand you. If not, then hire a pronunciation vocal coach for a minute and try to better out. But be there, be on the places, show up, say hi, shake hands, tell them who you are, and do not be afraid of serve. I serve proudly in like 4 or 5 board of directors for different organizations. And I proudly say sometimes I was the only brown girl there and my opinions were respected. And if you think in a place your opinions are not respected, step your ground, look for another board, don't give up, keep showing up, keep doing, apply, ask, say hi, introduce yourself, sold up what you have, sold up yourself, sold out your organization. If they say no, they say no, you go to the next one. If you show up and talk, people will feel like, oh, she's doing something. And then things are gonna flow. So that's very important to say. We have to be part of the change.
Absolutely.
We have to do something about it.
Yeah. And to your story, Carol, I mean, I definitely hear that trajectory of like owning your story and really reclaiming your power, and how I loved how you said earlier too of, you know, the hardships that you lived through. You saw it as an opportunity to almost become like this reina, this like your best self as you are now. And even in community organizing, I hear you saying that you like to reflect that back and have it reflected back to you like a ecosystem. So in the last 5 minutes of the show, I wanted to, we had John who asked some questions for you. And to that point of community organizing, one of his questions was, now that we're post-pandemic, right? Now that we've kind of come through this transition 6 years after, what do you see now as one of the needs in the community as a community organizer, right? What's something that we need now?
Our babies have grown up.
Mhm.
They're not 13, 14 anymore.
Mhm.
So we have to push and try to guide them in how they can help us out
Mhm.
to legalize their parents.
Mhm.
So we need to create a force to support them.
Mhm.
How we can help you? How can we support you? So this is my next plan to try to figure it out. How we can sit down on the table with all those kids who are now 23, 21, 24 years old and start developing a realistic plan. Because they go to different lawyers, they're charging an arm and a leg and then tell them no.
Yeah.
And we have to sit down and figure it out with specialists. That will be one. Second, it will be inspire again the young kids that is possible
Mhm.
and tell them, listen, education is key. Even though you feel like that university is gonna tell you no, whatever, we gotta work with universities, colleges, and communities to give them realistic resources.
Mhm.
Because giving a flyer is not enough. Presenting somebody is not enough. I need to bring the people to you. So I want to do that too. I want to be able to do that. And for the ones who already have their kids and they're young and they got married, it's still good. We have to figure it out how to give you resources or put you somewhere else to not forget yourself.
Mhm.
I don't want you to be a 25-year-old with that 6 or 7-year-old kid. I'm like, I'm a mom. Yes, you are. And I love it that you're a mom. And I celebrated you because I was a mom at 21.
Mhm.
But we have to make sure, what do we do to make sure you also succeed? You also became a legend and you leave your legacy in here. We gotta make sure all of us have to make sure people has to know who we are. My son and I, we always said, people's gonna know about who the Morattis were. Sooner or later, we're making history.
Mhm.
And that's a time. That's something for another story because me and him, we changed our last name
Mhm.
after we escaped, and it was a fight on the courts and all of that. But it's possible. Don't be afraid, just do. So it's a lot to do. Post pandemic means nothing to me. It means just more work.
That's Thank you. I think we're gonna just do one more question then, but it's gonna be a rapid fire teaser. Okay, let's pretend that we hand you $5 million that you can give back into the community in a way, right?
Yes.
Then $5 million for yourself. You have to spend it all, and it has to be in those two things: one for yourself, one for the community. What's some big things that come to mind of how you would?
Easy.
Yeah.
Okay, I grabbed the $5 million. The first $5 million. I bought 2 buildings. I bought a Collab building, and I bought the Casita Amarilla building. But I will have it not under anybody. I will have it as a community. I always hold it. Like I bought the buildings for the community, no owners, not me, no them, nobody, just the community buildings.
But we put your name on everything.
Yes,
Oh,
of course.
absolutely.
Yes, of course. Of course. We have to be women entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
Anyways, so we do that. We do the 2 buildings. We develop arts. We buy 2 buses because we can transport the kids. We make all the plans and all the dreams, and we develop that. With the $5 million for me, we bought 2 buildings
We bought the town.
to do housing,
Yes.
to do housing developments for the community, and we do community center, and I probably buy me a car finally.
Please, yes.
And we develop the school. Now I'll do a charter school for the arts.
Yeah.
So with my money, I bought the housing, which I'm gonna pay. I'm gonna charge rent, so it's a business technically. You gotta make under a certain amount of money to live in there, but I treat it as a business. And then we do the charter school for sure for the arts, and the after school program for the arts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll take a trip. I'll take a trip.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. Yes. And the car.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yes.
If anybody's listening and wants to send us that money, we have some really good ideas, and we will support Carol in these ideas that she has,
It's
and
coming.
making sure that it's just building to the community.
Yes. Check out collabart/donate.
The Latino Martha Stewart is still happening.
Oh, yes.
It's gonna happen.
She's
so-
here.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. And some point, one of those girls is gonna call, and we're gonna start making the money to make all of this happen.
Yeah.
Mm.
Until then, we'll
will.
figure it out how to afford for all of the things we want to do.
Mm.
Carol, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know that you have been so instrumental in me understanding how to be a better community member in New Brunswick as somebody who doesn't inherently live here. And then also how to utilize Collab Arts to continue building and growing as we help the community, but also the community is directly a voice in our work. And so you are always a person to turn to text, to call.
Mhm.
And I am thankful to hear more of your story and for you to sit with us today.
Yeah, thank you for receiving us with your big open arms and giving us all the love as you do. It's incredible to get, like, we already knew you, but this is to hear you in this way and to hear your story and to see it all. You just inspire us even more.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for
Let's
sharing.
make it happen always.
Oh yes.
And we'll put some links to make sure that everyone knows how to get involved in Sister Work in Promesa, helping volunteer for those distribution days, because I know that it really helps the community and you need the help too. So let's do that.
I need the help.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
absolutely. Gracias, Carolina. Thank you, everybody.
Audio
Yes.
Jungle.